Today we talk about the best practices for communicating with clients effectively. My name is Joey Thomas, entrepreneur and small business educator here with 17 Hats. We know that communication is a foundational pillar of a successful client relationship, right? Business communication, it's just the interaction between two parties to relay information, plan, or obtain some objectives. Now, it seems pretty simple, but it's not. See, everything from presenting options, setting expectations, making plans, decisions, communication is at the heart of your business. It is woven through the fabric of every area in business. It can make or break what you do. And we take it too lightly at times. So let's dive in and let's talk about it. Okay, so a recent case study shows that the cost of poor customer service, it's costing businesses close to $4 billion annually. It's often neglected because we tend to get very busy. And you know what? We fall into bad habits, and sometimes those habits don't serve the purpose of building a profitable and desirable business. Now, communication can take place in a variety of forms, as you know. For example, via the web. You have social media, you have Facebook Messenger, you have LinkedIn, a variety of collaboration tools like Slack, right? What are the advantages? Well, it's quick and accessible. You can have a window open to chat at the same time you're working on something else. And then you have over the phone. See, over the phone, you can use phone calls to answer leads, plan with clients, connecting with new clients, or discussing objectives, right? The advantage of that is that it adds that ever important aspect of tone to the conversation. It promotes better idea exchange back and forth when you're actually talking to a live person, and it encourages some connection beyond written words or just looking at a screen. You don't have to be dressed up, have great lighting, or, like you would in a Zoom meeting. And the way this last year has gone, you know exactly how Zoom meetings go, right? And speaking of Zoom meetings, you can also have video conferencing such as Zoom. See, video conferencing is the closest possible option to in-person meetings. You can see body language, you can hear tone, and look people right in the eyes as you are speaking. Now, I love face-to-face meetings, another form of really communication and interaction. When you take time to go face-to-face with someone, it actually creates a sense of urgency. It can help generate more ideas, collaboration. It makes the meeting feel more real, as it takes more time and energy to actually prep for in-person meetings. But then you also have email communication. You can send documents and receipts, invoices. It can help bring clarity to the details. It can be easily referred to when needed. Now, emails can be automated, right? I do that quite a bit through 17 Hats. I automate quite a few of my emails. But the reason I do it is it maintains a connection with that client, and if I'm communicating, it helps them feel valued and important. So from lead responses to sending product service guides, emails are a great tool. It can even be used for easy scheduling. You can send a scheduling link, as I do also with 17 Hats, and you can just send that over with an email, right? And then there's text communication. Now, text is something that is great because it's quick, it's always available, you can be casual, but it can also be abused. You have to really make up your mind when to use it and when not to use it. And I think text is becoming a little too casual and too comfortable right now in business use, right? Now, the method of communication you use really will vary. And it will be dependent on what the specific needs are and what you're trying to achieve. It also depends on who you are speaking with and what their preferences may be. For example, although I send an email to quickly respond to a new client inquiry, I also send a video welcome message via text and a questionnaire. Some of my clients may not be great at online interaction, so a phone call might actually be better. I might be overwhelming them with all of the emails and questionnaires and such. So a phone call will be great to just kind of open that door of communication and get them more comfortable, right? Now, may not be the best when you want to get a survey done or schedule a meeting, perhaps. Now, also a text message. A text message may be sufficient to just update a client. If I'm a few minutes away from a meeting, I can update a client that, hey, I'm on my way, I'm there in, 2 minutes, right? But it may not be sufficient to answer questions and set expectations of the services you provide or even deal with challenges. I will go as far to say text messaging is probably the worst way to deal with challenges with your clients. I would jump on a phone call, get on a Zoom, or go in person. Email is even great if you're really good at being clear and communicating and watching your tone. Now, you want to use the right tools for efficient and effective communication. You have all kinds of technology just at your fingertips. Automation technology, like I mentioned with 17 Hats, live chat tools, messenger bots. They can all be great fillers between your live interaction, right? Now, I save hundreds of hours through automation and just through setting up workflows, because what the reality is, I just don't have the time to have as many touch points as I would like. Now, the goal isn't to have 1,000 touch points, it's to make those touch points count, right? Sometimes I just don't have the time to do it. So just plugging them into a simple workflow and running these automations are fantastic. And it looks really professional coming through as branded emails to the client. So here are a few tips to consider in evaluating and improving your client communication. Okay, so follow me here. Number one, I just mentioned touch points. My goal is to have fewer touch points, but make sure they're really effective, clear, and directive, right? This is not to win who gets the most contact from me. It's in the number I choose. If I have 10 touch points with them, I have to make sure it's really, really solid and it doesn't require another 10 to fill in the gaps. So let's talk about text. Don't send 10 texts back to back to back to back when one email will do. That's what I mean by fewer touch points. You want to prioritize quality over quantity, okay? Number two, use positive language as much as possible. For example, let's say if I have an album company and I am writing a client about a product that they just purchased, and they ask me a question about the box that it comes in. Here's an example. You could say, I can't help you with the album keepsake box till next month. We are having inventory and supply issues. So let me say that again. I can choose to say, I can't help you with the album keepsake box till next month. We are having inventory and supply issues. Or I can keep it positive. That product will be ready to ship in a month. We can get the order placed right now and we're going to ship it as soon as possible. Which one sounds better? Now that takes a little practice, but I promise you, when you're about to hit send, stop yourself, right? Just stop yourself, because sometimes just stopping and just waiting to send it, leave it in your draft and wait to send it, wait 2 or 3 more minutes and come back to it, and you can see that, oh, okay, this may not be written in a way that I intend it to, right? So don't allow your frustrations and your annoyances just to show in your communication. All right, so number 3, respond to concerns quickly. Nobody likes to wait if they have a concern. No one. That is just plain and simple. I don't even have to explain that a whole lot. We've all been there, right? We've all been there in customer service in some part of our lives. For example, I had a concern. I stayed at a hotel when we went out of town and had a little vacation. We ran into some issues at the hotel in the room itself, and I wrote an email. It was detailed, letting them know exactly what happened. It took them a whole month. And when they responded, they said, well, nobody else had the same issues. Now, I can tell you, I was not happy with that response, right? Not only did they take a whole month, but they also didn't really speak in a positive way. So that really left a bad taste in my mouth. I was hoping I could just talk to them without having to leave a review. So number 4, okay, follow up if you haven't received a response or to get feedback of their experience. Follow up if you haven't heard a response. I'm going to go through some of these really quick because we have quite a few points. Number 5, set expectations early and often. Set expectations. Let people know what's coming and what to expect. Do it early in the client relationships and do it often as needed. If your clients are reaching out to you often to figure out what's next, just know you may not be communicating as well as you should be. Okay. Number 6, keep it relational and not transactional. They're not an invoice number, guys. Nobody wants to be treated like an invoice number. No one. And we should not speak to people as if they are just the next transaction. Be relational, be human, and have some empathy of where they are in their life as they are trying to get a service or product from you. Number 7, get as much face-to-face interaction as possible. Like I said earlier, I send videos, recorded videos to them when I don't have a time. I may not have the time to jump on a phone call or even have a back and forth interaction. I'm just sending them a message with my face included so we can make a human connection, right? There are so many ways you can make a face-to-face connection. Number 8, and I just said this, send video messages to break up the monotony. It is one of my favorite tools to use, and I have said it probably in 3 or 4 of my videos, and that means it works. So send video messages to break up the monotony. Number 9, be active on social media and respond to comments and DMs. So even Instagram's algorithm actually looks at if you're responding to DMs because they want engagement, right? So if somebody is sending you a message or leaving you a comment, respond to the message, right? Be active. Because if you're active and you're going live or you're putting up stories, your clients know that that you're a real human being. You're not just going through the motions, and it's good to see other people responding to you. So that helps them open up in their communication with you. Number 10, show appreciation and gratitude whenever possible. I feel like I don't do it enough, but I do it quite a bit. I'm always appreciative of my clients, no matter what business I am working in at the moment. Always appreciative. I try to call them, let them know how much I appreciate them. I appreciate them for their patience if I'm ever running behind on something, and just always show appreciation and gratitude. It does help stave off some of that frustration if you're not quite on top of it that week or that day, right? And in showing some gratitude for that, or gratitude for even using your service, it can go a really long way. Okay, number 11. Learn as much about your client as possible. Questionnaires, surveys, they can do wonders to help you get inside the mind of your customer and really cater to their needs. So be intent on getting to know who they are. That way you can solve their problems a little easier. And number 12, I want you to listen and listen some more. When you are in a conversation, whether the conversation has a positive tone or if it's a challenging conversation, stop interrupting. My mind, personally, it goes 1,000 miles per hour. If I don't consciously tell myself to stop, like, don't butt in, or don't say the thing that you're wanting to say right now, it really comes off a little disrespectful, and it disregards the other person's point of view, right? And so stop interrupting in communications. When you respond back, respond at a pace that you would be comfortable in an in-person conversation. That I'm talking about in emails, text messages. Just respond back as if you're sitting across the table from someone having coffee. When you have that pace about you, when you relax, have that pace, and you listen and respond back, it will create this sense of, this safety net, right? This safe space for your clients to be able to communicate with you. I know you have a lot to say, but you might change what you have to say if you listened first, right? So when you get a text message that you don't like, don't immediately send 10 text messages back to back to back to back to back. It's really inundating your clients and it gets very frustrating, right? Or don't send several emails before you get a response back. You want to take your time, okay? Then when you're talking and when you listen, you want to always clarify and verify your assumptions, okay? Clarify and verify your assumptions. Whenever you can, ask the customer or your client to confirm any assumptions you might have. Just some simple phrases like, let me know if that's right. Once I repeat something back to them, right? Let me know if that's right. Or it sounds to me like you're saying, or can you confirm that what I heard is XYZ? So just verify in any way that's comfortable to you and that sounds like you. Just confirm what they're saying so they know you're listening and you're not confused, right? And then guys, I want you to promote an ongoing conversation by ending the email or text with a question. That is a really powerful little power tip, is to end an email. Like when I send a response to an initial inquiry, I always put a question at the end of that email, because that question is an invitation to continue the conversation, and it works like a charm. Now, one little other tip, that if I'm responding back to an inquiry, I try to make it short so they don't have to scroll multiple times on their mobile device. A lot of people are writing you while they're at work. The last thing they want to do is be caught doing personal work on their phone, right? So make it short enough to where they can glance and read it and maybe respond a little faster. If you make it too long, they're going to put it off till later and sometimes forget completely that they were supposed to write you, right? So you can also just either offer an invitation to continue talking or additional resources to even help with whatever situation that they have. Like phrases like, is there anything else we can help you with? Or would you like to schedule our next meeting? So just different questions will help propel that conversation. And finally, I know we had 14 points. That was a lot, but thanks for hanging in. So finally, be focused on the objective. You want to make sure you are serving the client and not just serving yourself, right? So although sometimes communicating quickly and efficiently may feel inconvenient, frustrating, or just plain out annoying, know that it serves the greater purpose of building that like, know, and trust factor. Now, is there a lot to learn about communicating effectively? Absolutely. I think we will spend our whole lives trying to learn how to communicate better. But many times we tend to be led by emotions or just our exhaustion in the day in our communication, or maybe even be controlled by the lack of time. Some of the frustrations are, you know what? Sometimes just even disorganization, but hear me out. That's completely normal. We all go through these growing pains, but we just have to remind ourselves that communication is a major part of the client experience. And ultimately, it's the client's experience that will determine the ultimate success of your business. So let's take the time to think about each mode of communication that we have and how we can create an environment in which our clients are informed, connected, and excited about their interactions with us. Well, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me here to talk about better ways to communicate. If you like this video, hit that like button and subscribe to the 17 Hats channel. I will see you guys again soon with more videos just like this. Thanks again.